Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Devo for Tuesday morning, November the 8th. It's election day. Hopefully you've been praying, seeking the Lord's will in things, listening to the Spirit and the Word instead of so many other angry voices that are out there today. Today's devotion is entitled The Greatness of God's Promises. Believing souls now sing praises to the mercy and justice of him who redeemed them, and will sing the same song forever. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Now, how much better are the voluntary sufferings of Christ than the forced torments of the damned, and the melodious praises of saints in heaven than the forced acknowledgement of souls in hell. Only faith can see God in his greatness, and therefore nothing but faith can see the promises in their greatness, because their value lies in the worth of him who makes them. This is why promises have so little effect on an unbelieving heart, either to keep it from sinning or to comfort it because of sin's torment. Where there is faith to chase the promise, there the promise will give comfort and peace in abundance. It will be as sweet wine glowing with inward joy in the believer. But on an unbelieving heart, the promise lies cold and ineffective. It has no more effect on such a soul than medicine poured down a dead man's throat. Promises do not comfort actually and formally, as fire has heat. If this were true, we would be comforted merely by thinking about a promise. But the promises comfort virtually, as fire is in the flint, which requires labor and art to strike it out and draw it forth. Only faith can teach us this skill of drawing out the sweetness and virtue of the promise, and it does this in three ways. Faith goes to the source of the promises. Here the Christian can take advantage of the best view of their precious qualities. We can understand very little about something unless we trace it to its source and see its beginnings. A soul knows his sins are great when he sees them flowing from an envenomed nature which teems with enmity against God. The sinner will tremble at the threatenings that roll like thunder over his head when he sees where they come from and the perfect hatred God has of sin. The source. What is the source of sin? What is the source of promises made? It's a good challenge for us. The greatness of God's promises. We trust the promise because of the giver, right? We've had humans in our lives who've promised and not delivered. Sometimes it's out of their control to deliver, but still, they couldn't deliver, even though it wasn't an ill will intentioned lack of keeping the promise. But with God, he makes a promise, and it's impossible for him to lie. He keeps that promise. He keeps that promise, and our faith needs to take hold of that and hold on to it for all it's worth, and its worth is in God, the one who gives the promise to us. And so we look at where sin has come from and the root of it and all that goes with it, and we turn away from it in faith to receive the promise of God, the character of God, the nature of God, the love of God, all of it wrapped in together. And we have peace. And we have victory. And we have now the ability to do what we hear him calling us to do, whether that's to confess and repent and receive forgiveness, or whether it's to move on in that forgiveness and live a life that is full, an abundant life that Jesus came to give us? Where did it come from? Who do you believe? That's part of the battle. Blessings to you today. Keep fighting the good fight.